The Battlefront Network, giving you your daily dose of Battlefront content.
Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Tom and you're watching the Battlefront Network today. Thank you for tuning in. So, out of the date of this video, 3 playable iconic characters have been confirmed: Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, and Boba Fett. Some other characters will be making an appearance in the game, but they will not be playable. For example, Admiral Akbar, R2-D2 and C-3PO. There are also different playable races: Human, Celestin, Ishi-Tib, Rodian and Quarren. There are probably more that will be confirmed later on in the year, but which other characters could be making an appearance, and which ones will be playable? Well, I've made a list of the characters I'd most like to see in the game, and which ones will be most likely to be announced. So, here we go. First off, we have the heroes. So the first hero I would love to see, and the one I actually think EA will announce next, I hope it is, and it's Han Solo. His homeworld is Corellia, and he was born 29 BBY. He was orphaned at an early age and taken by the pirate Garrus Shrike to serve on his crew. He was treated cruelly and served Shrike for many years before escaping whilst in his teens. Solo became a smuggler and fell in love with Bria Tharon, though she left him due to her duties to the Rebel Alliance. Solo then entered the Imperial Academy at Carida, serving with distinction. He was kicked out, however, when he stopped an Imperial officer beating a Wookiee named Chewbacca with a neuronic whip for resisting capture. In gratitude, the Wookiee swore a life's debt to Solo, protecting him with his life. He became a smuggler once again with Chewbacca at his side, piloting the upgraded and customised Millennium Falcon, which he won in a game of Sabacc against Lando Calrissian, his future ally. He became known as one of the best smugglers in the galaxy. Now, the weapons available to Han Solo to use in Battlefront 2 was the DL-44 blaster, fusion cutter and jetpack. Now the DL-44 blaster is in the game and is actually usable, so we can only rightly assume that Han Solo will be there in the game. Now, with all of these new star cards and these different power-ups in the new Battlefront, I'm guessing that Han Solo, if he was in the game, will be given some other special type of weapon, maybe a grenade or something else to use alongside his blaster, so that when we actually become the hero as a power-up, then we can actually use those weapons. I'd also like to see Chewbacca make an appearance as a playable character in the game. Now, his homeworld is Kashyyyk, and he was born 200 BBY. Chewbacca carried with him the name of an ancient Wookiee hero, the Great Baka, first of the great chieftains of Kashyyyk, and the creator of a sword that denoted leadership among the Wookiees. This name placed Chewbacca in a noble lineage, which was further supported by his role in the Battle of Kashyyyk during the Clone Wars and during the Galactic Civil War. Chewbacca was a wise, sophisticated being of great strength and loyalty. As technologically savvy as the brightest Academy graduate, he was also a skilled mechanic. Chewbacca, like many Wookiees, was able to understand Basic, but he could not speak it due to his species' vocal structure. He instead spoke Shriwook, the main Wookiee language, composed largely of growls and grunts, to his non-Wookiee companions who typically replied in Basic. The weapons available to Chewbacca to use in Battlefront 2 was the Bowcaster, Guided Rocket and Time Bomb. Now I'm guessing he'll still keep his Bowcaster in the game if he was actually implemented in there, but again with the star cards and the different power-ups, we're not sure what else they could add alongside that. Maybe they will just include a Guided Rocket and things like that, or a Time Bomb. That would be cool in the game, but we'll have to wait and see for more star cards and what else they have in these loadouts. The next hero I would like to see as a playable character in the game is Princess Leia. Her homeworld is Alderaan, and she was born 19 BBY, and she was born on Polis Massa. She had a forceful personality and bright intellect, having accomplished much in her youth. She was a strong proponent for the Rebel Alliance, the youngest senator ever of the Galactic Empire at 18 standard years of age, and a member of the royal family of Alderaan. Years later, she was instrumental in the creation of the New Republic, and was elected to the position of Chief of State, serving twice in that office. So the weapons available to Princess Leia to use in Star Wars Battlefront 2 was the suppression carbine supporting blaster with sniper sight and also thermal detonators. Now if she was to be implemented into the game, I'm guessing they could give her a weapon such as the DDC Defender, which stands for Drurian Defense Conglomerate Defender, or of course the Imperial Blastech E11 blaster, which she used after Luke and Han rescued her in episode 4. So whichever weapon they choose to give her if she's in the game, we'll have to wait and see. The next hero character I would love to see make an appearance in the game, and of course also be playable, I'm guessing most of you would agree with me here, is Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, considering the game is only centered around the Galactic Civil War era and the sequel era, it can only be Ben Kenobi, the older version of Kenobi of course. So his homeworld is Stujon, and he was born in 57 BBY. He was later known as Ben Kenobi during his exile, and he was a legendary Jedi Master who played a significant role in the fate of the galaxy during the waning days of the Galactic Republic. He was the mentor of both Anakin and Luke Skywalker, training both in the ways of the Force. He had a long and tumultuous career that helped shape the fate of the entire galaxy. Kenobi was taken as the Jedi apprentice of Qui-Gon Jinn and travelled with him on many missions. During the invasion of Naboo in 32 BBY, Kenobi became the first Jedi in approximately 1,000 years to defeat a Sith Lord in combat when he defeated Darth Maul during the Battle of Naboo, yet he lost his master in the same duel. In 22 BBY, Kenobi found the clone army on Kamino, and he was captured and almost executed in the Pentranaki arena on Geonosis, along with Anakin Skywalker and Senator Padme Amidala. In Star Wars Battlefront 2, of course Obi-Wan had his blue lightsaber, and also had Force abilities including Force Push and Saber Throw. Now, we have seen some gameplay of Luke Skywalker's Force abilities, and he actually he's able to use Heavy Sweep, Saber Rush and Force Push. Now, if Obi-Wan was to be implemented into the game, what Force abilities do you think he would have? Let me know in the comment section below. But I'm guessing he would also have Force Push, and maybe they would keep Saber Throw in there, just for a different variety of Force abilities to use. The final hero character I would like to see in the game and also be playable is Lando Calrissian. His homeworld is Socorro, and he was born 31 BBY. He was a professional gambler, entrepreneur, smuggler and general throughout various points in his life. He became a gambler and con man early in his life and acquired his own ship, the Millennium Falcon, in a game of Sabacc. He went on to have numerous adventures with the Falcon and its piloting droid, Vufi Ra, during which he ran afoul of a sorcerer of Tund named Roko Gepta, whom Calrissian eventually killed. After a series of events led him to losing the Millennium Falcon to a Corellian named Han Solo on Bespin, Calrissian eventually became the Baron Administrator of Cloud City for a time, a position he once again gained through playing Sabacc. Lando Calrissian uses a blaster pistol. Now of course there are lots of different blaster pistols in the Star Wars universe, and some of them can be augmented for other functions, including ascension guns that fire grappling hooks. So whatever they decide to give him in the game, if he's there, we'll have to wait and see. And maybe these weapons will actually have other functions that can be used for different things, such as the ascension gun with the grappling hooks and stuff like that. So that'll be awesome to see. Now, the villain characters. And the first villain I would like to see is Emperor Palpatine. His homeworld is Naboo, and he was born in 82 BBY to the aristocratic house Palpatine. Palpatine discovered the Sith at a young age as a collector of dark side artifacts. In 65 BBY, he met Hego Damask, a Mon businessman who was, in reality, the Sith Lord Darth Plagueis. Under Plagueis' manipulation, Palpatine killed his father and pledged himself to his new master's dark side teachings as Darth Sidious. Palpatine lived a double life for many years, serving an untarnished career as Naboo's ambassador in the Galactic Senate, while learning from his master and training a young Zabrak as the Sith assassin Darth Maul. Plagueis and Sidious, both exceptionally skilled and powerful in the Force, were able to conceal their identities from the Jedi for decades. As Plagueis privately searched for the key to eternal life, Sidious manipulated galactic politics, culminating in the blockade of Naboo by the Trade Federation. In the wake of the political crisis, the Galactic Senate voted to elect him as Supreme Chancellor, and around the same time, in accordance with Bane's Rule of Two, Palpatine murdered Plagueis and usurped the role of Sith Master. In Battlefront 2, Emperor Palpatine could use his red lightsaber of course, and Force Lightning and Force Choke. Now those two abilities, I am certain if he was in the game, they would keep for him to use, because they are so definitive for his character. And in Battlefront 2 he could also fly, so maybe they'd add that in there, I'm not sure. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. The next villain on my list is Bosk. Bosk, meaning devours his prey in Dosh, was a male Trandoshan bounty hunter who was the pilot of the Hound's Tooth and held the title of Monarch of the Kotal system. He was not particularly fond of Chewbacca and his human partner Han Solo. He would face them several times, and would be one of the 6 bounty hunters Darth Vader hired to track down and capture the Millennium Falcon. Despite the fact that Bosk loved to hunt and skin Wookiees, he would unknowingly aid in the freeing of hundreds of Wookiee slaves on the island world of Lomabu 3. He was also a frequent partner and foe of Boba Fett and Zuckuss, both fellow bounty hunters. After being repeatedly beaten by Boba Fett, Bosk would eventually boost his reputation as a bounty hunter by defeating Fett on Tatooine. Now, Bosk uses the weapon called the Relby V10 micro grenade launcher. This was a highly destructive blaster mortar weapon modified from the Blastech Industries CSPL-12 projectile launcher. It was commonly referred to simply as a mortar gun. So if he was actually in the game, then I'm guessing that DICE would give him this weapon to use. The next villain is IG-88B. Now, IG-88B was an assassin droid from about 15 BBY to 3 ABY. He was the first replica to be activated by IG-88A in Halawan Laboratories. IG-88B played a crucial role in the planned droid revolution on Mechas 3, by being the main bounty hunter face of the group. He took jobs that often required massive amounts of destruction, in order to further lead pursuing Imperial forces away from Mechas 3. He was the unit who was contacted to capture Han Solo by Darth Vader, who, despite being quite aware of the dismantle on-site order concerning the assassin droids, valued the capture of Han Solo too much to be concerned with the risks involved. While on board Vader's ship, the Executor, IG-88B downloaded some of the ship's computer files, including information on the second Death Star, which he transmitted to IG-88A before departing. He then planted a tracer on Slave 1 and followed Boba Fett to Bespin, intent on killing him. There, he followed Fett to the bowels of Cloud City, where he walked straight into a trap set by Fett. 4 remotely activated ion cannons fired on IG-88B when he walked through the room. Boba Fett then shot him with a shoulder-mounted ion cannon, knocking him to the floor. He extracted IG-88B's own concussion grenades and placed them inside the droid's metal casing. IG-88B was blown apart from the inside. The weapons available to IG-88B to use is quite a long list, so if DICE were to implement this character into the game, they'd have quite a nice variety of weapons to equip the character with. So they are as follows: gas dispenser, neural gas grenades, flamethrower, sonic stunner, pulse cannon, needle dart gun, blade extension set, ion blaster, DAS-430 electromagnetic projectile launcher, concussion grenade launcher, throwing fletchets, and blaster rifles. So DICE could, use any one of those for the characters. That'd be awesome to see, and I would really like to see this character in the game. The fourth villain on my list is the Emperor's Royal Guard, sometimes referred to as the Imperial Royal Guard or Imperial Guard. It was an elite unit of the Galactic Empire's armed forces, specifically the Stormtrooper Corps, tasked with the protection of the Emperor Palpatine. Palpatine was almost never seen without a detachment of Royal Guards at his side, so much that they usually accompanied him to his bedchambers and his office within the Death Star. The exact number of Royal Guardsmen serving the Emperor was unknown, with speculations ranging from less than 50 to tens of thousands, although their numbers were estimated to be at least 400 at any one point. Like the Stormtroopers of the Stormtrooper Corps, the Royal Guards formed a military unit independent of the Imperial military, and answered directly to the Emperor. The weapon available to the Royal Guards to use was a Force Pike, and the tip of the pole was a vibro-edged head with a stun module that could knock a full-grown Wookiee unconscious using a concentrated nerve impulse similar to that featured in the stun setting of a blaster rifle. At lowest setting, the spear would deliver excruciating electrical shocks. Higher settings could result in paralysis and death, and at maximum setting, it could slice through everything from flesh and bone to thin Durasteel plating. The weapon could be used for self-defense, but also a torture device, so that sounds like a very lethal weapon to me that could be used by these Royal Guards, and also if they were implemented into the game, they could use this. But also, I've read that they can actually use blaster rifles as well. So there's two options there for DICE to choose from. And the final villain in my list is Kylo Ren, who is the new villain that will be appearing in Star Wars Episode 7 later on this year. Now, Kylo Ren is a male individual who lived approximately 30 years after the Battle of Endor. He wears a black hood and cloak, a dark mask, and wields a lightsaber of special design, and the lightsaber projects a main red blade with a red cross guard projected out of its sides. So of course we don't actually know much, well, anything at all about this villain yet, and of course we'll know about him after the movie has been released, so we cannot wait for that. But considering that the game is actually set in the Galactic Civil War era and also the new sequel era, they may actually release DLC, you know, that's Star Wars 7 themed, and we could see new characters appearing in the game that we can play as, and of course one of those could be Kylo Ren. So I'd love to see him make an appearance maybe later on down the line in a DLC of some kind. That would be awesome. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me know in the comment section below which heroes or villains you'd like to see the most in the game. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'm Tom. Until next time, goodbye.